So welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews where we discuss with local business leaders their backgrounds, their successes and their challenges and what's really driving them forwards. And this afternoon, I'm delighted that we have with us Clare Verity, who's the director at Footprint Recycling. So Clare, thank you for spending a bit of time with us. And if you'd like to introduce yourself and Footprint to the audience, what you do, how you do it and how you help people, that would be wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Chris. Yes, so we are a waste management, total waste management company. And we are a bit different than the normal waste of large companies in the UK, i.e. Biffa, Veolia, Suez, because we go in and take a more consultative approach to waste management. We look at how a client might change the processes, how we can simplify things, what we can take out of, for example, the general waste, what could turn into revenue, generating revenue. We put equipment on site, EPS for polystyrene, which briquettes it down, which generates a massive income, plastic card, all the commodities, metal, we give rebates, we buy that back. We also do carbon emissions. So obviously the new thing is, since COP26 is that you've got to be carbon neutral by 2050. So we have clients now coming to us asking us if we can help with that. So I don't know if you know much about that, but there's three categories, three scopes. 1 and 2 are easy to do, so you can become carbon neutral. We help with offsetting projects, whether it's a borehole project in Uganda or planting trees in Yorkshire or your local area. And then scope 3 is 15 categories, which is a lot of a bigger, much bigger project, which takes much longer. But yeah, so we're not just put a receptacle in and go for the cheapest price. It's how we can save our client money and increase their recycling, zero to landfill. Also, I'll do circular commodities. So we look at what waste we can take away, recycle it into another, so it keeps getting reused and recycled rather than end up in landfill or in our environment, in the water, in the oceans, etc. So we do all sorts, and we take all waste streams away, from hazardous to WEEE waste to IT to general wood, every waste we can help with.
Brilliant. Wowza. So anything waste or recycling.
Nationwide.
Absolutely, and you're nationwide, brilliant. And you take that specific approach that looks at the particular challenge rather than just taking it all away. You look at the best ways.
Yeah.
You mentioned revenue several times, so there is an opportunity to generate revenue from the waste that people have on their sites.
Absolutely. The thing is, most large companies, they're already recycling, and most of them are getting revenue. However, the smaller ones might think, oh, we've just got a bit of paper, we've just got a bit of card. But then you actually go on site and you look in the general waste roll on, roll off, which is, a large receptacle, and there's loads of card. So you just think, well, let's just have a look what we can do for you. We can put 2 smaller receptacles in, give you, or change the Roro into a cardboard. And then put a smaller in, might end up in a wheelie bin for the general waste. So you're massively reducing the cost. Your general waste is going down, your recycling is increasing, going up. So yeah, there's lots of different ways we look at it. But we go on site, do a waste audit, which is free. And then, yes, we go from there and put a proposal together.
Wonderful. So anyone watching this is interested in just knowing a little bit more, they could get a free audit from you.
Yeah. They call in, they speak to my fantastic customer service team, and then they'll put them in the right direction, depending what area of the country.
Brilliant.
So, and then someone goes out and has a meeting.
Wonderful. Great. Well, maybe if we start with, if you could maybe tell us a little bit more about your background, how you got into business and why this particular one, Clare.
Well, I have sold many different things over the years. And to be honest with you, I ended up in waste management because I worked for a telecommunications company and I hated it. And so I sent, as you do, CVs off. I had a couple of interviews for waste management and selling gum shields. And I thought to myself, well, I went for both and I got offered both. And I thought, hang on a minute, gum shields, limited market, waste. All companies have got it, right? Money to be made. So it was solely to do with making some money. That's what. So I went to work for company. Well, at the time they were in Leeds, Bradford, and I was based in Bradford, actually in a porter cabin. And yeah, so that's how I got into waste. Worked with them for 6 months, and over a coffee with one of the school mums, we decided to set up, which my husband at the time, I also found I was pregnant. So I had a 6-year-old and I was, expecting.
Yes.
And my husband thought I was crackers because he had no working capital. But we both set it up at home, working from home office. And Robin has also had 2 children, a toddler and a 6-year-old, the same as myself. And yes, we just cracked on and set it up. And the rest is history. So we've been going since 2008.
Well, a great story. Difficult time to set a business up. I mean, a lot of people, well, I've interviewed 1 or 2 people that set up businesses during COVID and lockdown, but obviously 2008 was also a very, very challenging time to start a business.
Well, funnily enough, yes, the first year, the global crash, and we was literally doing plastics card, commodity based.
Yes.
And we quickly evolved. We had clients saying, can you take this? Can you take our Hazardous? So we did, because we wouldn't have had a business, because at the time they were stockpiling all the cardboard bales, if you can remember. So it was, yes, so we evolved very quickly and managed to save our business. So yes, working all hours to fit in home life, baby. And fortunately, my daughter was really good. She never cried. So I could be on the phone and just rocking her with my foot. so yes, it was interesting, but we're still here. So
wonderful. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. So when you were growing up, is this the sort of thing you saw yourself doing, or did you have other plans at that point?
No, never thought I'd go into waste. Suddenly, I always had a bucket list, and having my own business, working for myself, was always on it.
Yep.
So yes, I always did want to do something by myself. And I just, I like people, interacting with people. So I think sales was natural.
Yes.
Sort of progression, because I can talk. So yeah, I think it suits me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting. I've interviewed quite a few people doing this over the last couple of years, and quite a lot of them have said, I always wanted to have a business. It sort of didn't matter what. It was just about, I just want to have a business. That's going to be the thing I do at some point in the future. So it's not a common thing, but it is quite interesting around successful people that I've spoken to. So obviously 2008, so we're talking 15 years or so. What are some of the biggest issues and challenges that you've had to overcome over that time?
Oh, the first year.
Yeah.
Which was, it was tricky, but we got through it with the global economic crisis, and then COVID, 100% COVID.
Yeah.
Laying people off, laying your staff off isn't great, because we've got a fantastic team, and myself and Robin, we worked, and some of the accounts team that we managed to keep on and didn't furlough. We worked our butts off, shall I say. We did long hours. I was literally taking the dogs out at 5:30 in the morning, going up on the tops when I could, because there's no one around, and then I was working all hours. So yeah, because obviously the hardest thing as well was seeing clients close.
Yes.
All around us. So it was a worrying time. Are we going to have a business when the staff do come back? But we just what you do. You just put your head down and be an eternal optimist and just crack on.
Brilliant.
So we, yes, we did. We didn't grow that year, but we did all right.
Oh, heck.
Could have been a lot worse.
Surviving, whether it's COVID, recession, those sort of things, survival is often a massive success factor, in my opinion. I've been through, a couple of recessions, and just getting through when other people unfortunately may not does mean, it's success. So the fact that that you even broke even for any business is wonderful. So I mean, obviously, I'm sure you will have learned a lot. What would you say some of the biggest things you've learned about running and growing businesses?
Get a good team around you. yes, obviously, just let's see what have I learned? Well, lots of things. Get rid of any bad wood, the saying goes.
Yep.
And yeah, just always keep moving forward, but always be there to listen to your team. And yes, just obviously just trying to grow like now at the moment. So you're probably going to ask me what you find difficult. At the moment, it's finding a good sales team, growing a good sales team.
Yep.
Because I think a salesperson is a certain type of person.
Yep.
And as we've learned, they can send you a fantastic presentation, have the best CV and come across really well, but are they willing to go out there and do the graft and bring the sales in, or do they want to go to the pub at 2:00 in the afternoon?
Yeah.
And you know, it's always sales. You can place the accounts people and the customer service and everybody else, but everybody you speak to in business, yes. Say sales. So that's the hardest thing I think at the moment is growing the sales team.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, especially when there's so many jobs out there that people could apply for. It's and sales isn't always the one that many people pick. But if you, as you rightly say, if you get some good ones, then that can be the making of a great business. I'm sure. And you, I think you're aware we were a business coaching organisation, and I'm keen to know who the best coaches you've worked with, whether that's business, sport, life in general.
Chris Bingham from Crags Energy.
Great.
Fantastic. Yes. I met Chris many years ago on a skiing holiday, and he offered to give us some free coaching, and he's fantastic. Obviously, he's grown quite a few businesses in Halifax, in the Halifax area, and he's just a fantastic guy. He's obviously still a work in progress, but it's we got a new CRM system, got our back office sorted out. Gosh, what did he do? Getting us to take a step back and working on it rather than in it.
Brilliant.
That's a work in progress, because obviously myself and Robin's done every part of the business, from starting it from whether you have to step in and do invoicing when we were smaller, and you know, we've done it. So taking a step back is difficult because we both love to be hands-on. Well, you know, we are, but you can't be there and do everything. So you do have to trust in other people and take a step back. So, but yeah, he's always said you've got to pull back and spend some time on it instead of in it.
It's such a difficult thing for dynamic driven people to do that, but you know, I love the phrase that I use a lot, which, you know, slow down to speed up. It's the slowing down that helps us go faster, as you say. Step back, be able to see the way forward, and then we can go faster through once we know the path. But it's so difficult when a lot of people I work with, they get to where they are by very hard work. But clearly you've described that yourself. It's very hard work to get there, and the challenge is breaking that cycle, because it's not that we work less hard, but we work differently, and it's not just about how many hours we do, it's about the value of the hours that we put in. But it's quite a different mindset to change, I find, Claire, with a lot of the people, well, in many ways myself, but also with many people I work with, because working very hard has always been the result, has produced the result. But head down, I think you used the phrase head down. You know, head down means we're actually not looking up, and that's that could be the challenge. And
absolutely.
And do you find yourself using any quotes or sayings that you use a lot about in business or about business?
Oh gosh, I've used lots of sayings, to be honest. But I mean, I used to say a lot: "You sleep when you're dead." When you die. And
that's a hard-working person.
Plan. There is no plan, but I'm older now, so that was more when I was younger. So now I like to go to bed at 9:30. So yes. Oh gosh, yeah, I don't know. Just yeah, there's loads of things.
Sleep when you're dead. I think that, you know, that's a very good quote for a lot of people to just get stuck in, because it is a feature, I think, of the initial stages of business. Hard work is an essential. There isn't any way around that. I think it's just once we've got onto that growth curve, when we can work through others, then the ability to take a step back and plan and be more strategic is quite important. So what would you say looking backwards, you've learned about yourself through your journey so far?
I asked Robin yesterday because I was thinking about some questions, and because it's hard to think about yourself, isn't it? What I've learned through life and business. And the first thing she said straight away is how positive I am. So yes, I am pretty good at compartmentalizing things and moving on. And in all aspects, of crap, whether it's family life or anything you get thrown at you. And yes, I am a positive. I always think of the best. Like she says, that's why we work as a great team. She's a worrier. I'm not.
Yeah,
she thinks of the worst and works back, whereas I don't think about the worst until it's happening. To me, what's the point of worrying something if it hasn't happened? So positive. I think just to remain positive, and always believe in yourself, which I do. I didn't go to university, and I sort of think I should have gone back and done a degree, but then you just got to believe in yourself that you can get on in life. Obviously, I want my daughter to go to university, but do you know what I'm saying? Is just believe in yourself, and if you want something bad enough, you can do it. And just that positive outlook on life, I think.
Wonderful. Yeah, I think it's really vital in any individual or partnership that somebody has that positive attitude, because it's otherwise, I guess it's understanding what the opposite looks like, which is the thing. So looking forwards now, what does the future look like for you guys, and what do you see as the main challenges you might face, if any?
Well, very bright. We're just growing the company. We've got a really good team internally, but I've already covered that question. Really, the biggest challenge is at the minute to grow the sales team. In different areas. So at the moment we're looking for a sales manager. So if there's any sales managers out there, ideally that have got waste experience, that would be fantastic. But yes. Yes, exactly. So it's that really. That's our main hurdle at the moment. Because we've got all the back office, the systems in place and everything. So it's just to grow.
It's great. It's great to hear you talk about recruiting a sales manager, because I think the biggest mistake made in sales in general, it happens across the country, happens across the world, is to promote the best salesperson into the sales manager. And yet management is a totally different discipline to sales. To sales. That doesn't mean a sales manager shouldn't be able to sell, but managing others to sell effectively, empowering them and getting the best out of them is very different from just being the best salesperson in the team, which I just see time and time again, Claire. I don't know if you have yourself.
Exactly, because we've got sales, and myself and Robin are managing them, and I could really do with not managing them. We need that sales manager to manage them more, and take them to task more than we do. However, I love going out with the sales team. So I do love it. Whether it's walking around the industry, knocking around the industrial estates, or appointments already made or whatever, but I do like going out and ongoing training and teaching them. I do love that, but it's just the everyday.
It's the management part, isn't it? The management part is a more structured, irregular, accountable, and it doesn't. It's not in general, the behavioural profile of a great salesperson doesn't lend itself to be the person that's detailed, systemised. They're very, very, very different. It's very, very rare to get someone that does both. So it's understanding that you want a sales manager alongside salespeople is really valuable, because it's to see that so many times.
Yeah, that's what we're going for at the minute. So that's the challenge at the minute, to get a good sales manager.
Let's hope one's watching. That'd be great, and would like to come on. But I'll ask you afterwards for you as part of this for how to get in touch. So if anyone is, they'll know as well today how to get in touch. And just looking sort of about again what you've learned. What would you say to anyone that was thinking of going into business right now, Claire?
Oh God, go for it. I mean, obviously, I always wanted to have bar and restaurants. In fact, I had a little stint in Denmark, in Copenhagen. I worked in a sushi restaurant, and I always wanted. So I lived in London when I was 21, and down there doing for a large brewery. And I always wanted to do that, but that's what I wouldn't go into at the minute, because everything's I just think people opening bars and restaurants at the minute because there's so many closing, which is so sad. But anything else, I'd just say go for it. Any other industry.
Brilliant.
And I think niche ones are, well, any industry at the minute. I'd just say always believe in yourself again, and if you've got a vision, just don't get into loads of debt doing it. You don't have to have working capital, but it depends what you do.
Yeah.
But you've just got to believe that you've got to believe in your service or your product. And if you do, then
brilliant.
Everything else should follow.
Absolutely. Starts with a positive attitude. That's very, very clear. And if you started again, is there anything significant you might do differently, do you think?
Scale the business up faster. That's what we should have done. But obviously we had a baby, young children, the economic, but acquisitions, if we could bought some businesses and grown a bit quicker, because we've done it organically, which is great. And we haven't taken investment or anything like that yet, anyway. But yes, so we could have grown at a faster pace, but still we've grown. So I'll probably change that.
It's interesting, Ed, from many of the people I've spoken to doing these interviews, but also I was at an investors event yesterday, and one of the common threads was about doing it of the angels that were there that had grown their own businesses was scale quicker. Exactly what you said is if you know it works, why wouldn't you scale it quicker? Is the question. So makes absolute sense. And finally, if looking backwards again, what would be the best advice you could give an 18-year-old you if you could go back in time and do so?
Well, I went traveling, so I'd definitely say to anybody, not to myself, but I'd say go traveling.
Brilliant.
Fantastic, the best time of my life, going around Asia, but pay into a pension, because I was definitely a late starter in there, and get on the property ladder, do both at a young age if you can. Yeah. Because yes, I chose to go traveling, and came back with not much in the pot, shall we say, but should have started my pension a long time ago. So that's what I'd do again.
I did the same, funny enough, and it's slightly later in my career, but it really does enhance, I think, our own sort of self-reliance, and there's a whole bunch of skill set you learn by traveling around the world. I think
absolutely,
you have to look at you look after yourself, and you have to learn just things like negotiation skills, sales skills sometimes, especially and it's fascinating. So no, brilliant, great advice. So Claire, thank you so much for your time. It's really been fascinating, and really wish you best for the future, and hopefully we can maybe catch up again in 6-12 months and see how things have gone. Hopefully you've got your sales manager in place and things have gone from strength to strength. And for anyone, including hopefully that potential sales manager that's watching right now that would like to get in touch with you or your business, what would be the best way to do so?
Well, they could email me direct on Clare, CLARE, at footprint-recycling.com, or ring our head office on 01484 660 770.
Wonderful.
That's 01484 660 770, and that's the Home Firth office.
Wonderful.
That'd be fantastic. So if anybody wants their waste looking at, it won't cost them anything. So, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, let's hope you get a few people coming in, or more than a few people.
Oh, thank you, Chris.
And, well, thank you so much for your time. It's been fascinating. And as I say, maybe we can, catch up again in 6-12 months and just see what the next stage of your development and growth are.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.